For instance, he healed the blind and lepers, brought the dead back to life by God's permission, and
Han Meditations. Hey guys, as you can see, I have all these journals. The link will be in the description. Hello guys, I am Han. This is Kelly.
Hi.
We are Han Meditations. We're back with another exciting video. Every time we do one of these videos, we have no idea where they're going to go. And in the last video, something very interesting happened. We actually figured out that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was able to actually break the rules of the Quran because God allowed him to do so. So in this video, we're going to figure out more prophets that were able to actually break the rules. Are you guys ready for this video? Because this is going to be exciting. And like I said, we don't know what we're going to learn. So let's get right into it. Hello, ChatGPT. I actually just found out that the Prophet Muhammad was able to actually break some of the rules in the Quran, like having 4 wives. And he was able to do so because of his special privilege of being a prophet. Which other prophets in the Quran were able to actually break the rules in the Quran because God said so? And you can even include the Prophet Muhammad if there's more rules that he was able to break because God said so.
In Islamic tradition, Prophet Muhammad's circumstances regarding marriage are seen as a special exception rather than breaking the rules. As for other prophets mentioned in the Quran, they are generally depicted as adhering to God's commands rather than breaking them. However, there are instances where prophets were given specific allowances or performed actions that were unique to their prophetic role. For example, Prophet Moses was commanded to strike the sea with his staff to part it, allowing the Israelites to escape Pharaoh's army, which was a miraculous act granted by God. Prophet Ibrahim, was commanded to sacrifice his son, a test of faith that was halted by God and replaced with a ram. These actions, though extraordinary, were carried out under God's direct command and are not seen as breaking the divine law, but fulfilling their prophetic duties. Prophet Muhammad's case regarding his marriages is unique in that it was explicitly addressed in the Quran as a special provision for him due to his role and responsibilities as the final prophet. Such exceptions are not viewed as rule breaking.
So there are, take when I say rule breaking and special exceptions. Obviously, I know they're not breaking the actual rules because God allowed it. So what special exceptions were other prophets bestowed, were able to have bestowed upon them by God? Are there any more examples of special exceptions from these prophets in the Quran?
Certainly, prophets in the Quran were given special roles, tasks, or miracles by God, which can be seen as special exceptions to normal human abilities or experiences. Here are a few examples. 1. Prophet Moses Musa. He was granted the ability to perform miracles, such as turning his staff into a serpent and parting the Red Sea, to help free the Israelites from Egypt. 2. Prophet Jesus Isa. According to Islamic tradition, Prophet Jesus Isa in Islamic tradition is considered one of the most significant prophets and was granted remarkable miracles by God. For instance, he healed the blind and lepers, brought the dead back to life by God's permission, and spoke as a baby to defend his mother, Maryam, from accusations. Muslims also believe he was born miraculously to the Virgin Mary without a father, which is seen as a sign of God's power. However, unlike in Christianity, Islam teaches that Jesus is not divine but a human prophet. He is highly revered and is expected to return near the end of times to restore justice and defeat falsehood.
So are those all the special exceptions of the prophets?
Not quite. Prophets in Islamic tradition were granted various unique miracles and exceptions tailored to their missions. For example, Prophet Noah knew. He was instructed to build the ark and survive the great flood with the believers and pairs of animals as part of a divine warning to his people. Prophet Solomon Suleiman, he was given control over the wind, the ability to communicate with animals, and authority over the jinn, spiritual beings. Prophet Jonah Yunus, he survived in the belly of a whale as part of his journey back to God after initially fleeing his mission. He was thrown into a blazing fire by his people, but God made the fire cool and safe for him. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, along with his specific marital allowances, he performed miracles such as the splitting of the moon and his night journey, Isra and Miraj, where he ascended to the heavens and spoke to God. Each prophet's exceptions were directly linked to proving their truthfulness or fulfilling their divine mission. Would you like to hear about any of these in more detail?
I was actually wondering, how did the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, know that he was allowed to have more than 4 wives?
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, knew he was allowed to have more than 4 wives because it was explicitly revealed to him through the Quran. In Surah Al-Ahzab, chapter 33, verse 50, God granted him a special dispensation regarding marriage. The verse outlines who he was permitted to marry, specifying that this allowance was unique to him and not for the rest of the Muslim community. This exception was directly communicated to him as part of his prophetic mission, and his marriages served purposes beyond personal relationships, such as strengthening alliances, caring for widows, and demonstrating ethical behavior in complex societal contexts. The general limit of 4 wives for other Muslims was established later in Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 3.
So before that was even established, everyone was able to have more than 4 wives.
Yes, exactly. Before the Quran.
Wow. That
There
is
you
really
have
interesting.
it.
That's interesting because, I mean, really think about it. There's so many different prophets that did so many amazing things. And, obviously, I'm not saying they broke the rules. I'm saying they broke the rules according to God. So if God tells you break the rules, then you're not breaking the rules. Yeah. But, but it's just such an interesting thing to think about because, even like the most interesting to me is King Solomon, whenever he was able to control the jinn, using them for construction of buildings and all sorts of things. And he had a bunch of wives. I mean, God might have put that limit on it because of King Solomon, because he had like 100 wives or something crazy. So, I mean, at that point, there's no way you can take care of them all, unless he instructed his jinn to help take care of his. I don't know what was going on back then. But that's just such an interesting character to me, and I love learning more and hearing more about all the different prophets.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in our last video that the norm before this was established was actually that it was polygamy was the norm, So if you take that in consideration, it's actually a fair rule. So you can't think of these texts exactly as in context of the world as we know it today, right? We have to understand that back then, it's very different time, very different customs, very different lifestyle going on. And I love the Quran. What's so interesting about it is sometimes it'll say things in there that really make sense for that time, maybe don't make as much sense now. But it'll also say things that back then probably made no sense to people. And then lo and behold, hundreds, centuries later, it makes sense today. So it's just so interesting. Every little word, truly, every little sentence in there has a really big purpose. And it's just fascinating. It's like I don't want to say mystical, but it's just a divine book. That's what I'm looking for. A very divine text. It's just incredible.
Oh, absolutely, Kelly. So, we love learning about this. It's so exciting for us. And we actually can't, it's just like we can't wait to learn more. So
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing the video. And thank you to everyone that donates to the channel. We see every single donation. It means so much to us, guys. It truly makes us emotional thinking that we're doing this because God told us to. And look where it's gone.
Yes.
Even if it's $1, $10, $50, $100, it doesn't matter. Lets us know we're on the right path, and we appreciate everything, whatever you can offer. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next video.